Hello again, it's me, Annie Shapero, certified sommelier and the founder of Divino. Before we get started, just a second to remind you, there's a subscribe button down below. In part one, we talked about why it is you can find Chardonnay for as little as $7.99 and other bottles for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. We also talked about whether or not more expensive wines are worth it. Do they taste better? Well, the question is a lot more complex than you might think, and you're gonna have to watch the video to get my answer. The link is down below in the description, so definitely check it out. Chardonnay number 1. This was in the under 10 category. Bogle Family Vineyards, Chardonnay 2017. The grapes were harvested by hand from 3 different vineyards, each sustainably farmed. Harvesting and blending grapes from different vineyards can contribute to balance and complexity in a wine, because depending on where the grapes grow, if it's a hot, sunny climate or a cooler climate, they produce richer, juicier, sunnier grapes, or cooler, crisper, younger kinds of grapes. Half of the grapes are fermented in new American oak barrels, and they stay on the lees, that means on the yeast, for 9 months, like a baby. The lees contact and contact with new American wood adds to a richer, glossier consistency. The other half of the grapes are fermented in stainless steel tanks to maintain crisp acidity. This wine is a beautiful lemony yellow gold, classic for Chardonnay, and might have picked up a touch of color from the barrels. The aroma is classic California. That is ripe, rich yellow fruit, a little bit of fresh pear, some honey, and some vanilla. The vanilla and a little bit of butterscotch, that all comes from the American oak aging. Now, I said this was classic California, but there is a whole world of unoaked California Chardonnay out there waiting to be discovered, and we will definitely taste that in another video. The wine hits your palate with a burst and blast of freshness, but that melts away into something rounder and smoother pretty quickly, although it is kind of prickling the back of my tongue. This wine is also 13.5 alcohol by volume, and the higher the alcohol, the greater chance there is the wine will be glossy and silky and hot on the palate. The finish is medium, not too short, not too long, and it leaves a little bit of a sweetness like an apple pie, something warm, buttery, and comforting. Our next wine in the under 20 category is Catena Chardonnay, retailing just under $20 wherever you are in America. This winery is located in the mountainous Mendoza region of Argentina. In places, it's almost 5,000 feet above sea level. What that means is huge temperature fluctuations, hot sunny days, and really cold nights. Now, that would drive me crazy. I hate layering, but it is so good for the grapes. Constant fluctuations of hot and cold allow the grapes to ripen at a steady pace. This means healthy skins bursting with juice, and that translates into a richer body, a greater aroma, and a longer finish in the wine. The grapes for this wine are harvested from 4 different vineyards in different altitudes with different profiles, also at different stages of ripeness. This allows the winemaker to choose between young, crisp grapes and super ripe and fruity grapes. The result is a very, very rich, complex, balanced blend, and at 2015, it's still very, very bright and crisp. You can already tell by the nose. Some of them have a more mineral-rich, alluvial soil quality, and that comes through in an almost flinty mineral quality on the nose. The color here is a rich, rich, deep yellow gold. Now, this wine is a little older than the last one, and it has also had some barrel aging, which comes through on the color. But already by this color, you can expect a much bolder nose and palate. On the nose, you get a blend. You get some peach, some apricot. You know those flowers, freesia flowers? They're yellow, white. They kind of smell like apricots. They're in here. You also get a touch of caramel apple. That is from the barrel aging. 50% of these grapes also undergo some barrel aging. And there is a touch of that mineral quality I was talking about before. Another contributing factor to the color, the aromas, and the palate and the finish of this wine is the 50% aged in oak barrels. And again, these are new American oak barrels. Like Americans themselves, American oak can be loud and rambunctious. It definitely makes itself known. Whereas French oak is a lot more subtle, a bit more restrained. Imagine Americans on vacation. We're always the loudest ones in the room, whereas the French can be sitting at a table next to you having a conversation and you can't hear a word. On the palate, this wine is beautifully balanced. There is still plenty of bright, prickly acidity, as well as a roundness. It's almost a flavor and a scent, something you can feel. Do you remember that Welch's white grape juice we used to drink as kids? It's that round, juicy, grapey quality that comes through in such a luscious, almost nostalgic way. I get a lot of that in this Chardonnay. The finish is medium long, and it leaves almost some bitter apricot in its wake, which is delightful, as well as that mineral quality. Your mouth sort of starts to water just a bit, but it's there. Lastly is our Chablis Premier Cru Vaillons 2005. 2005! It's 15 years old. As I mentioned in part 1 of this series, the Chablis appellation is famous for a very distinctive soil type called Kimmeridgian. Say that with me. Kimmeridgian. Kimmeridgian is made mostly of clay, but has layers of chalky limestone. Think back to elementary school. Think of the chalkboard, or better yet, if you have a piece of chalk, break one. In my mind, I had one. Try to remember that smell. You can also light a match and then tone that way down in your imagination to get an idea of this sort of flinty, mineral, limestoney, chalky quality that comes through in Chablis and makes it so distinctive. This wine was harvested from 2 different vineyards, from old vines and from young vines. And as we discussed earlier, blending grapes from different vineyards with different characteristics helps to create a more balanced wine in the cellar. This wine is a strikingly brilliant yellow-white gold, with little diamondy glints around the edges. It's so brilliant. For 15 years old, that is a great sign. This wine was also made from grapes harvested at different varying degrees of ripeness. It has those notes of sweet lemon and apple and pear, but also some like toasted butteriness, but light, like a crisp little buttery cracker. The palate is extremely zingy and fresh for a wine this old. As I said before, this wine is definitely aged better than I have, for sure. There is that beautiful green, bright, zingy, tingling acidity that balances out with the glossy heat that kind of coats the back of your throat and is a never-ending finish. It's mouth-watering. I also get almost like a dried fruit quality, dried apricots, dried peaches, dried pears. That is the age and the maturity. And because it's not so sweet, it's almost like an invitation to keep tasting it again to figure out what exactly it is. So that's all, folks. The point of this tasting was not to decide which wine is better or worse, but to show you the different qualities these wines contain at very different price points. All 3 of them are barrel-aged Chardonnays from select vineyards. They've been blended. So the techniques are somewhat similar, but the appellation, the climate, the history, it's all very, very different, and they come at quite different prices. But now you know what you're getting for your money. And stay tuned for part 3 when we pair each of these 3 wines with some food. I'm looking forward to that one, and I see some cheese in my future.